Meta stock has come crashing down, and we need to look through the markets, especially where big tech is concerned. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and do you know why birds don't like to study for tests? It's because they'd rather wing it. All right, guys, I'm going to get right into this. We're going to take a look at SPY. On SPY, right now in the pre-market hours, we did not quite make it up to that 50. Instead, we turned around before that time, softening a little bit down to 502.65. We do have GDP, the advanced estimate for Q1, coming out at 8:30, so we're going to be on the watch for that. If we get stronger than expected GDP results, that can be something to give us upward pressure on the markets. So moving over to QQQ, also down in the pre-market hours, looking like it's going to be close to about 1%, just shy of 1% down in the pre-market from yesterday's close. Still down below the 50 for right now, up above the 200, so still bullish on the markets. However, we could be seeing still some mixed times, some sideways trading, even possible further drops from where we're at right now. We will hear from Google and Microsoft in the after hours today, and that is critical because we could expect to hear similar sentiment given and similar guidance to what we heard from Meta, that right now there's still aggressive spending on the AI race, as we heard from Google from their last earnings that they expect to have CapEx increase over the next year, not decrease. So if Google comes out and changes that guidance where it's a little bit rosier, that they pulled back a little bit on CapEx or they found some big efficiencies, that could be really good for them. So let's touch on a few more things. I'll give more commentary on those as we get to the charts. Looking at Bitcoin, just to talk about how critical that 50-day simple moving average is. Look where we turned around. This blue line is the 50-day simple moving average. We got rejected there. So this high, not higher than the previous high, and this low, lower than the previous low. So lower highs, lower lows. This is possible, especially with that rejection at the 50. We could start to see this thing settle quite a bit. And where could we settle down to? Well, the 200-day is all the way just shy of $50,000. So $48-ish thousand for that 200-day simple moving average on Bitcoin. If we see further settling happening, we do have significant support right at around 60,000. So we want to watch for a bounce and see if this double bottom that we have right here holds. It's not a good sign necessarily that this side that we have here on the double bottom is just slightly lower than that one. It would actually be nicer if it was reversed, that we'd actually see it slightly higher than the other bottom that we have before it. So this is one, we've got to watch that $60,000 line, look for support there. If we fail to catch that support, then we can come down pretty much to 50,000, all the way down to this 50% fib that we have here is about 45,000. Moving into the stocks themselves, Meta, pre-market hours, down to 425. It was a little bit worse than that in the pre-market hours, post-market hours yesterday. And so there's the 50-day that I said that we would be dancing around leading up to those earnings. And you can certainly find us there. And this rejection, not necessarily all that good for what it bodes for Google, selling off significantly, down about 3% from where it was at yesterday in the pre-market hours. And we'll see where that happens to go. We are significantly above the 50 on this one. This is one that could possibly pull back harder on us. We're going to be watchful for that. Maybe down to 150, maybe down to 145 by that market close. And then we're going to have to hear from their earnings. Hopefully we get a surprise to the upside on this, that we get some excellent guidance about Google Gemini and about the progress that they're making there, about the partnerships that they have. Maybe they'll even talk a little bit about their partnership with Apple. Maybe that will bring in a confluence that helps us push us further to the upside. We do have a double top on Google, not necessarily all that strong for convincing us that we're not going to settle a little bit further on this one. And then looking at Microsoft has really been pushing the cloud side with their Azure service, with their Azure AI, and also their co-pilots. And so we want to hear about that adoption rate for the businesses. We did get rejected off the 50 as of yesterday. So there again, the 50-day, huge for us. This could be something that people talk about for a turning point in the markets, to see so many things getting rejected on that 50-day that we could see some further settling. And if we do for Microsoft, that 200-day, all the way down at about 370, but we do have some other values in between. We also have that round number support right at about $400 per share, and historic support just under that, 397, 398. So for Microsoft, definitely going to be big to watch the earnings come out today in the after hours, and for Google in the after hours. And that's really going to be highly influential in the markets. And then next week, we have Apple and Amazon reporting. And so we're going to have to see from there. Apple, by the way, is already below their 50-day, and actually not really all that affected by what we saw from Meta so far. This is one that actually is holding just shy of 170. We want to see the break of this trend line right here. Breaking this trend line could be a good side that there's further upside. You can see last time we broke it, we got rejected at the 50-day anyway. So moving on from there, we have Tesla. And Tesla, you can see the bulls and the bears. Let me really do this so you can see that battle from yesterday over the bulls and the bears deciding the direction that Tesla stock should go. Staying above this trend line is a bullish thing for us. GDP is going to influence that as well. Inflation numbers tomorrow with personal income and outlays also going to influence that. The 50-day north of there, 176, is probably going to be a pretty hard limiter for us. And we also have a historic resistance from these previous peaks that we have through here that typically seem to be where sellers came in for us in the past. And that's all the way up to about $180 per share. So even with some upside appreciation, there's still plenty of snags and snares for us to get caught on in terms of resistance. And then support on the way down looked to be fairly resilient right around that 150 to 140 level. So we're going to keep an eye on that. If it breaks down through those two, 125 and 100 are the next two big ones that we have down from there. Nvidia, I said watch that 50-day. I even told people over my Patreon, my Discord, watch that 50-day. That's going to be important. Watch for a rejection off of that. So far, we've been rejected. 800, honestly, holding the 800 line is still going to be highly important for us, and making sure that we don't get beyond this low that we had going all the way back to Friday of last week. That's also going to be critical for Nvidia stock. Now, mind you, with that push for AI, we could see Nvidia still capitalizing on that with the aggressive spend. If we hear from Google and from Microsoft further investment into Nvidia, that could be something that really does help to fill that out, that even though it might be further spend for these other tech companies that are relying on Nvidia technologies, and I realize that Microsoft's working on their own hardware, Google has some of their own hardware, and I'm not sure about Meta. I'm going to check on that one. I will say that Nvidia is still at the heart of all of this, so it could still be a boon for Nvidia, and I think that's why we don't see a bigger change in the price from yesterday's close. I was actually surprised to see it rejected at the 50-day, but I think that's more market sentiment on the AI stocks themselves that's affecting it right now. I still think that even though, I said about market sell-off that it makes it harder to hit this price prediction of $1,000, I do still think that we're going to have a run-up to earnings for Nvidia stock, even if we don't necessarily get to that $1,000 that I previously predicted. I think it's still on the table. That is a 25% upside from where it's at right now in the pre-market hours. So that's a pretty big run from right now. If the market happens to somehow run between now and then, I think that this $1,000 becomes a whole lot easier to hit and a whole lot more likely. Right now, there's a lot of doubt, especially because we got rejected at the 50-day. Holding that was going to be critical for us when I put out the prediction, and so far we broke it and got rejected at it, signaling that there could be a further sell, so don't be surprised if we get that, especially if we hear from more of big tech giving poor guidance or soft guidance moving forward from there. And I just wanted to share this with you guys. Yesterday, Enphase, I bought a put option for 114 strike, seeing this thing run up immediately as the market opened, and I was like, there's not a lot of reason why Enphase, being given the technicals that they have, given the earnings that were already expected to be bad and they came out worse, and soft guidance looking forward from there, I thought that this thing should pull back. So I bought that option, and then it quickly went up about 60%, and then it was quickly down 60% because we had this run. But check out again that 50-day. That's like the theme of this video, is getting rejected at the 50-day simple moving average. That blue line right through here came up, almost smooched it, and then sold off significantly. This thing was up about 3%, and then down, I think to close, it was down almost 6%. By the end of the day, that put option paying off very handsomely. I think there could be further downward pressure today given this volume and this high top wick here. There's a lot of selling pressure, but there's also significant support that has come in right around 106. If we break that, I think we could see down to possibly 100. Now, I did go super aggressive on that options play, and I'm going to have to exit that position because the expiration on it is tomorrow. So regardless of the outcome of that, I'll be exiting that position today because I think I got a little bit greedy just by holding on to it this long. Yesterday at one point it was up 117%. As of this morning, it's around 80%. I should say as of about market close, about 80 or 89%, somewhere around there, which is significant within a single day to have that sort of gain. So today it's time to realize that gain. As long as this thing doesn't wildly reverse on us from where it's at right now, it still should be a pretty good day for that options play, and it has a 3x potential, so we'll see if that pans out. If you guys like my commentary and would like to hear more of it, would like to see my buys and sells, come on over and join me at the Patreon. And then also my community members over there are just phenomenal and wonderful people. I think that you'll really enjoy their company as well. We're all passionate about finance. We'd love to have you over there. And then if you guys want to learn to do technical analysis like I do, there's a link for a course on technical analysis trading to take your trading game to the next level down in the description as well. As always, guys, I really do appreciate your time here. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.